All right, and hello, and welcome to the Obi Wan Kenobi Aftershow here on JLJ Media. This is episode 5 we're talking about. I'm James Lott Jr. I'm here with my compadres of the Kenobi universe, of Jaboom, John Dunphy, and Frank Moran. Hello, fellas.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
I want to tell you guys, thank you so much for making the Obi Wan Kenobi Aftershow my number one show the last couple of weeks. Fellas, we're getting so many downloads. It's rivaling a Boba Fett show of members. I'm just in shock how people are finding us online, apparently.
Keep finding us.
I'm serious because I feel like, aren't there a lot of these out there? There's a lot of shows. I mean, there's a lot out there. But I guess they like the way that we talk about the show, Frank and John.
True. I mean, there are a lot, but there's only one that has John Dunphy.
That's who it is.
And we got him.
Oh, man.
We got him. Everybody else
got him.
Oh, boy.
Hello to my sister in the chat room right in there. Also, John Dunphy got me this hat for Father's Day.
Oh, look.
Father of the Year.
Father of the Year. Right there.
That is true.
It is. So I just want to show that off for a little bit. Now I'm going to look like John and go backwards. I have a lot of hair. There we go. Next to my face. But thank you, John. I love it.
You're very welcome. Very welcome.
I love it. My favorite gift all year. Everybody in chat room's coming in. All you guys, come on in. The water's fine. The water planet of Nur is fine. Come on in. We're going to talk about the show of episode 5, which is the penultimate episode. My overall thoughts, first of all, which is I loved it. There were twists and turns. There was surprises. There was battles. There was sadness. I loved it. What did you both think? John Dunphy, what did you think overall?
I'm with you. I absolutely loved it. This episode, I've loved the whole series, but this episode in particular really had like everything that I wanted, like between, the flashbacks that we got and just some more of the action, the continuation of the story of Obi-Wan trying to get Leia back to Bail Organa and Alderaan and all that. You just saw so many great things from some of these characters that we've had, like Tala and stuff like that. And I just can't wait to really get into all of it with you guys. So I love this episode.
Frank Moran.
I'm going to be less enthusiastic about the two of them.
Imagine that.
I know. What a surprise. What a surprise. Not that it was, not that I regretted my time watching this at all. I didn't. But, boy, that really sets the bar low for that kind of. I didn't regret my time watching this.
Frank Moran, did you say I did not regret my time watching it? That is great. I love it. You get the bell for that.
Lucasfilm, you're welcome to put that in any promotional material you'd like. Feel free.
Frank's like, I guess it wasn't a total waste of time.
I know that is hilarious. You said I just like I wasted my. Oh my God, Frank. Well, let's get into it then. Let's find out what Frank didn't care for him. No. So the through line of the episode were I put in air quotes the flashbacks because it's actually them today representing a flashback. So Hayden Christensen is back. A lot of fans lost their shit. I felt myself giddy watching it. Like, yeah, it was a little older. Who cares? They had the hair and everything in the setting. So John, what do you think about that? Actually, throughout the show, they were showing different flashbacks, kind of relating it to what was happening currently. So what do you think about that?
Right. No, I thought that was so cool. I liked how, we got to see Obi-Wan kind of like teaching Anakin a lesson while they were sparring through the flashbacks, but also like doing the same sort of thing as the events played out of the episode in the present time that we were watching, and I thought that was like, I don't know, I thought it was so poetic as I think, as George Lucas would say, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and Frank, what'd you think?
Well, all right, here we go.
Oh my God, I'm scared, Frank.
I'm nervous. I'm nervous.
One thing that I did like about it is that it's like a shared kind of memory that we're flashing back between the two of them. So it's always cool to see, Darth Vader's more inner thoughts. I need to see that. So it was cool to see him having kind of a reflection point on his time with Obi-Wan. So that was cool. The other part of me was like, well, anybody who wanted to see Obi-Wan, looking cool with his lightsaber, this was your moment, because this is all you're going to get out of Obi-Wan being badass as a Jedi, wielding his lightsaber throughout the course of the series. So, yeah, I mean, it was fun. It was fun. I don't know. I wouldn't have minded a little bit more, something drilled a little deeper. It was a very easy breezy kind of memory that kind of very easily, strung along the episode. So, I don't know. I guess your mileage may vary on how much you want. I wouldn't have minded a little bit more. So,
yeah, they give the best lines tonight, Frank Moran. I'm liking that. I'm a little turned on by you right now. It's kind of like,
all right.
I'm like, Frank's just bringing it out tonight. He's bringing it out. He's bringing the zingers are coming out. Yeah, no, I thought it was kind of cool that they decided to do that. I mean, because literally we saw Anakin. Well, obviously, there's Darth Vader, but then he also showed him with the youngling flashbacks. We got flashes of his face. We'll get to that later, but yeah, we get to that. But Haja is back. Suddenly he's on Jaboom. I'm like, oh, there's Kumail Nanjiani or whatever. It's like, oh, okay. So he's back. And you also have Ice Cube Jr. He's back. They're all getting back there.
He's not showing up just for one episode. It's like, no. If I'm going to be in your Star Wars show, you're going to put me in a bunch, at least 2 episodes.
At least. Well, possibly 3 now, I guess, because
that's true.
I mean, this finale maybe. But he's back. And so they decided that they're going to try to get everybody out of there. They know something's up, obviously. That something's up. And you're right. There's this whole thing between Obi and Darth. They had this whole thing, this kind of connection thing happening the whole episode. I thought was kind of cool, actually. But they're going to try to get him out. But little Lola does the dirty work. A little bit. All of a sudden, now you're coming out and you're a sealing thing and knocking stuff, and then it's going in the little thing and scissoring out the cords. Lola, and seals them in. They're not like that. But see, Obi knows kind of knows what his moves are going to be, and he's just like, okay, kids, we can't fight them. Like they're literally. It's kind of weird. It all happened anyway, but it's kind of like we can't fight them. We don't try to hold them off. But that didn't really even work. That part was a little weird for me. But I like that his thought process was we can't fight them. We just gotta try to get everybody out of here. And now it's always the goal. So now we have like a story set for the episode. Can he get everybody out of there before Darth and his people do damage? So that was kind of a nice thing. And it's sort of they arrive. They're all coming. They're all getting there. They all arrive. And also at this point, before we get to the other stuff. Obi looks at it, the hologram thing of Bail Organa talking to him about, watch out when we find out the children. Now Luke could be in trouble. So a little foreshadowing that there. But little Leia, give me a ladder. I'll take care of it. Since you big boys can't get in there, I'll go in and do it. I mean, just being the little princess that she is. So before we get to the Obi-Wan Reva talks, all this happens before we get to that part. So that whole first part of I think it was like 7, 8, 10 minutes, I guess. How do you feel about all of that?
What I thought was I thought was interesting was it seemed like Vader wanted he ordered Reva to lock down the facility that all the people were in, right? And she was saying like, well, they could last in there for days and this and that, but it seemed like they were getting through that door very easily. Very quickly.
Yeah, I had a problem with that part. I was like, okay,
that was one thing that I was kind of like, what do you mean days? It's been 10 minutes. You're almost in.
Her lightsaber came through. The blaster couldn't really do it, but her lightsaber just cut right in like it was butter.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. Go ahead, John. Sorry. Go ahead. Yes.
No. But it was interesting. I love this actress that plays Little Leia. Like, just getting in there, getting her hands dirty. Like it's so Leia to me. So like I loved all that part too.
Good,
you know what I love too, because we were talking a little bit about like the flashbacks and going back between Obi-Wan and Vader. Like I love the fact that like Vader is always in this mask, but it's like you can see him reflecting on things and like showing emotion and like thinking about things. Like it's just so funny to me that you can that they can portray that with a character that's got this mask on.
And just hearing James Earl Jones' voice just makes me excited. I love hearing his voice. I just love hearing him voice it. Frank, what are your thoughts up to this point before we get to the talk, where we get to some revelations?
The Lola stuff was kind of annoying because it just happens to be that robot is pretty much just useless all the way up until this point where the plot conveniently needs this robot to be really awesome, to take to sabotage their systems. Then all of a sudden that robot has no problem getting the job done, but every other time that robot just blows. So I'm just like, all right. I mean, I would have bought it much better if we would have seen the robot at least at one point in this episode when it was trying to help Leia be successful. And then you're like, oh yeah, they flipped it out for the bad guys. It makes sense. This robot is slick. So I don't know, just having the robot be a failure up until that point, and then be like, yeah, now it's great because it's working for the bad guys.
It was a really advanced tracker that was put on there. It was very advanced.
Just pull it out. Done. Yeah, like, okay, that's interesting. Very interesting. I did have a problem with that too. It's kind of like, that's all it took. But I was excited because I was like, okay, what's going to happen? They set it all up. The stormtroopers are outside. The folks are inside. What are we going to do? They start firing, blah, blah, blah. But I love that there's a scene. So we have a scene between Obi and Reva at the door. And we have our first revelation that I didn't see coming. I mean, maybe you saw it, Frank, or I don't know. I didn't see it coming that she's actually against Vader. I did not see that coming. I just didn't see it coming. That she was trying. We had a feeling she was a youngling. We had a feeling. It was revealed she was, but that she was actually hunting him down. I was like, oh, okay. So we got to think about that twist. That she actually was a youngling. He killed all her friends. She played dead. And then now she's trying to actually get back at him. Okay, we'll say, Frank, what are your thoughts on that?
An interesting idea, but I thought poorly executed for me. It's I just, and who knows, we'll see what the next episode gives us in terms of where it leaves Reva at the end of this. Clearly it's interesting. Qui-Gon Jinn, a gut shot takes him out. Everybody else seems to survive because they either got extra stomachs or just because they got just a lot of just like I can't die like this kind of attitude like Reva's gonna have, are able to just take a gut shot from a lightsaber and just shake it off. So okay. Yeah. I don't know. I'm bummed because I think that's an interesting storyline of somebody trying to hunt Vader. I just wish it had been seeded a little bit better along the way and not waiting to drop to this. I would have liked to have seen that. It just seemed it was too much for me, too much that happened too fast in this episode. And I rather would have had that Reva reveal be a little bit sooner and having that and then seeing her kind of strategize a little bit more along the way. It all happened too quick for me for this episode.
Well, if we had longer season, do you think that would make a difference?
Well, we certainly had plenty of running time left in an hour. It's not like we were.
You're right. No, you're right.
Again, this episode was, like 40 minutes barely.
Yeah.
So, right. We're not. It's not like we're running out of real estate. We could have done more, I thought.
That's true. You're right, Frank. Actually, Frank's talking about that. John Dunphy, what do you think?
I wouldn't say that I was expecting this twist, but I was hoping for something like this, where we were going to get we were going to see this flashback, more of the flashback in the temple, and we were going to see, the reason that Reva knew that Vader was Anakin and all that. So I'm glad that we got that. I guess, and I do agree with Frank in a way. I would like to have more time to really see all this, but it's interesting because I feel like, the fact that it happened so fast, I don't know. In a way, I feel like I don't mind it happening that way because I feel like Reva is in this position. Like, I understand why she's just trying to do everything on her own, and she doesn't want to say anything, or show her cards or anything like that, because I feel like I understand why she is still really pissed at Obi Wan, even if she's technically hunting Vader. I understand why she's also angry with Obi Wan, because she feels that he's responsible for a lot of these things. so I could see that being something that like her, anger at Vader and all that and the Empire, I could see why she would keep that like a secret and not say anything about it. And then after having this sort of conversation with Obi-Wan, like maybe thinking more about it, I don't know, maybe that was just like a spark in her mind.
What else she said? Where were you? Why didn't you say
right,
that?
Right.
I like the scene, so I understood that. I'm saying I understood that it's 6 episodes. I mean, we're not getting anything else, so I felt I'm glad we got something from her, kind of what her motivation is, because we're all speculating, kind of anyway. We're all speculating. I mean, her being a youngling was not a big surprise. Clearly, that was like I figured that is. But the fact that she was hunting Vader, I thought that for me that was like this interesting twist. But I'm glad it gives a twist, because it gave her a new layer to her for me. It was like, there's another layer of her now. That's something a little different than her just doggedly trying to get after Obi and serve Lord Vader. Now we got conflict, and he tried talking her into it to work with him. And you can tell
I also think it makes me understand too, like in the earlier episodes, there were times where like, the way she was acting, like they kept saying she had so much rage and she was being too aggressive. And like some of the lines even that were being delivered seemed over the top. And I almost feel like in a way it was because she was trying to like really be over the top, like show like, I've gone to the dark side, like trying to like she was overdoing it almost like to, because it wasn't really real. Like she's actually out to get Vader. And like, so she felt like she had to be like over aggressive and very, just very rageful about everything that she did. I don't know.
Yeah. And James, to your point, I mean, I'm all about, like we were saying, adding that extra layer, which is great. It's just like, boy, would it have been nice to introduce this like a couple episodes ago. And then we get to just see a little bit more of like, Reva trying to, do what she does. And certainly for somebody that is trying to kill Vader for everything that he's done to the people that she cared about as a youngling, to see the sacrifices that she's making and the dangers of her becoming the very thing that she's trying to destroy in the process of trying to take down Vader as well. Interesting things that would have been cool to see explored a little bit more in the character, and having a little bit more opportunity to have those back and forth with Obi-Wan as Obi-Wan's trying to kind of get her to realize like this is your best time to turn against him. I would have liked to have had more real estate within these earlier episodes, so that really did pay off in this one. You're like, boom, all right, things are happening in this episode. But for me, it just was all so packed in within like a 10 to 15 minute span that you're just like, okay. There was a lot of stuff that could have been mined in here a lot better, I think, in the course of the series. So
could I ask you, Frank, let's say even if in one of these earlier episodes we had gotten even so like I think in the first episode, right, we got Obi-Wan kind of tossing and turning. He was having like a nightmare about Anakin and just like how things all turned out at the end of the Clone Wars. Do you think if we even had like sort of a dream from Reva like that, where she's kind of like, remembering everything that happened in the temple and all that stuff, and then we see her wake up, and she's like just, do you think that would have even been like enough? Like even if it was like a 15-second thing where she's just kind of like having a flashback in a dream of like what happened in the temple, and then we see her, sort of wake up and we know, you know what I mean? Like something like that. I don't know. I feel like they could have added something in there, a little hint at some point along the way.
Yeah. I almost wouldn't mind it if this would have happened in the last episode, where they're on the water station base, and Reva gets a chance to finally get Obi-Wan, which she's been trying to do, and then that's when everything gets revealed. And so we get we have the feeling that she's kind of sitting with us a little bit. She still has her confrontation with Vader at the end, where he's like, you screwed everything up, you're out of here, and she's like, no, I put a tracker on. We're not quite sure if she's willing to go along with Obi-Wan and his plan, or she's just on the quest to do what ever it takes to just take down Obi-Wan so she can get close to Vader and take him out. I would have liked maybe seen like some of her point of view brought through this as well. I mean, the name of the series is Obi-Wan, so ultimately he's going to be the focal point of the show. But while we're getting a little bit of Darth Vader, if you're going to introduce Reva, I don't know. I just think it was too rushed for me. It's like, why introduce this character if you're going to treat her, give all these revelations so fast, and then just kind of, and again, we'll see what where she's in at the last episode. after next week, I could be like, whoa, they put this character in an interesting place, and maybe she's going to go on and do some other stuff. Who knows?
There was actually a point when watching this episode where I kind of had like this thought where I was like, I wonder if they're going to try to play it where like the reason that Reva was so desperate to find Obi-Wan, like right from the beginning of the series, right? Because it didn't seem like the Grand Inquisitor and even the other Inquisitors were all that interested in finding Obi-Wan at first. They weren't even sure if he was alive or not. And she was so sure of it. And there was a thought that I had was, maybe she's so desperate to find Obi-Wan because she feels like that's the only way to stop Vader. That's like the feeling that I had in this episode at first. But then, like, you see, like, no, she really wants to kill Obi-Wan. And I almost think that could have been an interesting angle where it was like she's working with the Inquisitors and is so desperate to find Obi-Wan because she thinks that that's the only way to stop Vader and stop the Empire. But that's not the direction they went, obviously, because she clearly wanted to kill Obi-Wan. So,
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I wanted to. I know there's been a lot of online debate about this character, and a lot of stuff has been said about the actress, and it's just I don't want any of that to cloud it over. I just like any chance we get a chance for a new character to be introduced into the Star Wars universe. It's like I'd like to, let's Star Wars excels at diving deeper into characters, and so I just felt like the pace of this series for me it could have been. Her story beats could have been better distributed in the earlier episodes to really pay something off in this episode.
Yeah.
Well, bitches, you can get all that.
Yeah, no, sure didn't.
Okay, I didn't know. I just think. I mean, it's that's probably the blessing and the curse of this whole thing is that because it's a limited series, 6 episodes. You're right. The episode lengths have been very uneven. I'm very curious to like why they choose. All the shows are like this stuff. They're all like this. I'm always curious how they choose to make an episode. I mean, I know you write an episode. I wonder why they said, okay, we're going to stop here, and it comes to 36 minutes, as opposed to you stop here, it comes to 52 minutes. Like most primetime TV or they write for like 55 minutes, or 50, with commercials, 45 minutes. I was curious why they didn't. I'm always curious about that. Yeah. Why a lot of these streaming shows, I'm watching Stranger Things also, same thing. Some episodes are this long and some episodes are this long. So I'm like, you're right, there's things they could put in there, but then there's times when you see you've seen series where they put too much in and you're like, you could trim half of that off. There's that too. So I don't know. It's just the age-old question of the new world of streaming and just what they choose. I think that's the bigger question. Because you're right, there was that episode that was like 32 minutes the other day. I'm like, there's plenty of room to add a story in there. I'll go frank with that. So there's plenty of room to add a story in there too. To move it along. Or is there going to be a season 2 and they're saving a lot of that for season 2?
Maybe. I mean,
maybe the Reva storyline will be next season. Maybe that's something they would do next. They pick it up next season.
Or in a different series, if it happened to be like maybe an Inquisitor-based series or a Vader-based series, maybe we see her pop up in there, where it's she's a character that can interact with Darth Vader, and so we have somebody going against him instead of Obi-Wan, because it's supposed to be like we got to keep Obi-Wan kind of and Darth Vader apart until New Hope. So maybe she becomes a de facto kind of Obi-Wan-esque antagonist or protagonist again, or antagonist for Darth Vader.
Yes.
You my antagonists, correct?
Antagonists together, Frank.
Yeah, it's just when everything went down with the early kind of the fans being some sections of the fans being kind of jerky towards this character and the actress, and Lucasfilm was great coming out, supporting her and saying we're excited. I think you're going to be excited to see what happens with Reva. So like, all right, cool. I'm looking forward. And so when we get this episode and everything's so rushed with this character. It's just I feel kind of underwhelmed by the character when I would rather be more excited about the character.
And I was the opposite. I was the opposite. I got more excited about the character. I was always kind of underwhelmed by her. Now I got more excited. There you have it, kids.
Yeah, I've started to like Reva more and more and more as the series has gone on.
Yeah.
So
there you go. There you go. That's why we have the shows. Okay. So we have that part. The battle happens. The major thing that happens, and I got a little teary-eyed because I'm just a big old baby now. Tala and her droid. they die together. And what got me, what was crazy, what got me was that the way they filmed it with the droid, she gets hit first, of course, and then the droid gets hit, and how he goes over to her. It's that whole thing you say, like sometimes like they'll say dogs or cats will go to someone who's dying and they'll like go with you, whatever. They said something. I just thought he powered down as he kneeled to her, and then she had that bomb, and she was like, "That's it, kids." She knew she could get out of there. I thought it was very touching. I had a feeling she was going to die. I mean, we watched enough of these shows. I had a feeling that was her. Because earlier on, she said, she tells that story about going to this planet and they're killing the whole family and the kids, and she couldn't do anything about it. But she pulls out her gun and goes, "Now I can do something about it for each of the members of that family." I had a feeling she's going to be sacrificed. I just had a feeling, just because that's for the good of the cause. So I wasn't surprised there. So what do you guys think about that? What do you think about that scene? So that character's out. That droid is out. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, I think certainly where Obi-Wan and Leia have to go in this story. So, you need those characters that, we don't know what their future is. So, that can die in the course of the series. So it does give stakes to it. So, always a bummer. Maybe because I'm dead inside.
You're dead inside.
That's right. But actually, sadly, I felt more sad about the droid. So
I felt bad for the droid too. I was like, oh my god. I mean, like,
yeah,
he tried. He was good. He was good to them. The cause. He was good. Not his fault, but he got hit the wrong place. John Duffy.
Yeah, I have to say, very sad about the loader droid, because I feel like one of the greatest things about Star Wars is the droids. I mean, there's so many great droids, but like, I was very sad to see Tala die also, because I really liked her character, and I loved the actress Indira Varma, so like it was great to see her. But it was interesting to me to hear that exchange between her and Obi-Wan, and her kind of sharing one of her experiences with the Empire, because obviously we saw Finn in the sequel trilogy sort of defect from the from the First Order, but you don't always see these characters that were part of the Empire or part of the bad guys, the First Order, whatever, and then they come over to the good side. And so it was kind of nice to see her, get more of her story. Here, one of the reasons why she knew that she had to fight against the Empire, she just knew it was the wrong thing. And then to see her go out in the way she did, because she probably really did save everybody there. And they were close. Everyone was trying to get to the transport. It wasn't open yet, and she bought them, some very precious time to escape. So, it was a big sacrifice. I liked Tala a lot. I liked that character.
Did you like that character, Frank?
Yeah. No, it's she had brief screen time, and my squabbles about the direction, the geography, and the pacing of episode 2 with the conversation between Darth and Obi-Wan and her coming in. I'm not going to hold that against the character, because that's not. So I think that the character is interesting. So, interesting enough that we had, you feel a little something for her when she ends up sacrificing herself.
Yeah. Well, next we have Obi-Wan realizes, well, again, it was this whole thing of kind of like Darth knew what was going to happen next. He knew what was going to. It was like, again, they're connected. He's like, I have to surrender. I have to surrender. That's the whole reason. And it's funny though, because I love the line when he says to Homegirl, "Oh, you're not bringing them to me. I'm bringing them to you."
Yes.
I love that line. I love that line. I just love that line, because it's kind of like, okay. And when they bring him inside and then he overpowers the guards up, it was kind of like, no, he knew this is you, bitch. It's all you now, because he now knows what your reasoning is, that you're hunting him. You want Darth Vader for killing all your people. So it's like, okay. And she kind of looks like, okay. And then it's Vader versus Reva.
I thought it was interesting, at least for Obi-Wan, even earlier in the episode where, Ice Cube Jr.
Yes.
It says like, hey, we got to get these other people out first. Because Obi-Wan is all about like, I got to get her back to Alderaan. It's so important. And I'm glad that there was some pushback on that. And we see the shot of Obi-Wan like realizing, oh yeah, hold on, I can't be a total knucklehead. There are lots of other people that also need this. So I'm glad that he took a moment for there. And I felt like in this episode, you start seeing a little bit more. we start seeing I guess maybe the physical attributes of Obi-Wan coming out in episode 3 as he started to kind of get reacclimated to the Force. But I felt like this was more of the, I don't know, the mental or not necessarily emotional, because that can lead to the dark side, but just more of the mental aspect, in the sense where it's why the Jedi exist, and they're there to help others. And so, having that awakening to be like, oh yeah, let these other people get out of the transport first. Let me help them. Let me sacrifice myself. Seeing some of the more tactician, strategical side of Obi-Wan Clone Wars coming back out. Just seeing some of those other elements of Obi-Wan starting to reawaken in this episode, I thought was a nice little bit of arc for him.
Well, I forgot before we get to that, we have Darth coming in using the Force to make the transport come back down. That was kind of cool. I was like, okay, Darth doing his little thing. But they had a plan, of course. And the little one goes off. The thing ship goes off. So they still get out. But yeah, so what do you feel, Frank? Frank, what'd you feel?
All right. As much as that was great, because who doesn't love to see your father start throwing his S around, his Force S all over the place. But you see a scene like that, and as awesome as it is, it again frustrates me about episode 2, where that loader droid and an injured Obi-Wan are way closer and way smaller than a starship going at full thrust trying to escape. And he's able to hold that and bring it back down and rip it apart. So I just felt like, I understand if you don't want Darth to capture Obi-Wan, but you got to give me a more believable setup for why Obi-Wan was able to escape in episode 2. Because seeing this, it just sells just like, it's just a because reason. And for me, Star Wars I can't buy the story when it's just it's because Obi-Wan needed to get away. I need a better reason. Give me a better reason. There's an explosion. Things were falling apart. Distractions. So Darth was trying to actively defend himself against other stuff. And so that's why Obi-Wan was able to skirt away. So that's the stuff that, as awesome as Darth Vader was in this episode, just reminded me more of the weakness of episode 2.
So, John, what do you think?
Well, it was funny. There was a brief moment when the first ship took off and he brought it back down with the Force, and then the second one took off. That I was like, well, he did it to the first one. Why didn't he just do it to the second one?
Yes.
I thought the same thing too.
Yeah, but yeah.
That's so funny. I thought the same thing too. But now we got Reva and Darth fighting. So what do you think about the whole fight scene? What do you think about all that?
Reva stinks, which is a shame. I don't want to say that, but it was just, I don't know. Yeah, interesting scene. Interesting that Darth doesn't even draw his own lightsaber for this. It's like can't even be bothered with that. Yeah. I don't know. I felt like this scene lacked a little bit of panache. I don't know how you felt, John.
I would have liked. I liked the scene overall. I think it was cool that he grabbed her lightsaber, broke it in half, just threw a piece down to her. Like, I thought it was cool. I liked the scene overall. But there was one, earlier in the episode when Obi-Wan and Reva were having that talk through the door, and Obi-Wan was kind of like, you can't defeat him on your own. You can't defeat him alone. And she said, you have no idea what I've done alone. Yes. I would have liked to see like a more formidable fight between the two of them. Sure, Vader's going to beat her because it's Vader, but let's have a sick duel between the two of them, and then he beats her. You know what I mean? Like, it just felt like he didn't even have a lightsaber half the time, and he was still winning the duel. Like he was just using the Force as she's swinging away at him, and he's just kind of like stopping her. And I just felt like, she's all this talk about, you have no idea what I've done alone. And she's worked her way from the gutter where the Inquisitors found her all the way up to the title of Grand Inquisitor. And she can barely do a thing against him.
I also think it's bad to scream before you're going to swing your lightsaber. Why do that? Just walk up next to him and just pop that lightsaber into his chest. What's going on? Don't give the guy a second to react.
I also have to say, I understand why Reva is pissed at Obi-Wan, because I understand why she might feel like the Jedi, abandoned them and all that. But one thing, there was something that I had an issue with. I guess it's been true throughout the series because Reva has been pretty ruthless. But Obi-Wan and Reva had that conversation about there's, Obi-Wan said to her, there's women and children in here. Like, don't let him do to these people what he did to you at the temple. And then you see them kind of breaching the, this facility that all the people are in, that are trying to escape. And Reva's screaming, wipe them all out, wipe them all out. And it's like, how are you any different than Anakin, who came into the temple and wiped everybody out? You know what I mean? Like, so I get why you're pissed at Vader because he killed all of your friends and he attacked the temple. I get why you're mad at Obi-Wan because he wasn't there to stop Anakin. But why are you now telling these stormtroopers to wipe out all these people? You should just be there for Obi-Wan. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and it was actually, there's part of me in this episode, especially how it ends too, where was Reva expecting Obi-Wan to kind of be helping her on with Vader? I don't know. I felt like as they were talking, I could see Reva being like, "Wait a minute, he took off. Wait a minute.
I thought he was going to be here.
Yeah, wait a second. I thought I was getting a little assistance on this.
I thought this was a 2v1.
Yeah. So I'm curious. Where we see Reva at the end of the episode, I don't know if she's looking for revenge or what her motivations are, and I guess we'll see in the next episode.
So you mentioned she got stabbed, and he didn't finish her off. She's just there. But here's a piece of scene that I screamed John Dunphy's name outside the bedroom. I was like, the Grand Inquisitor is alive, Frank. John said that. He said that like 4 or 5 times on this show. Remember, you guys thought he was dead. Homeboy said, I think he's alive. It's on the show, timestamp. I went, God bless. Oh, I said something deeper than that. John Dunphy was right. The Grand Inquisitor walked out and like, motivation to stay alive. I'm like, that mother effer is still alive, Frank.
Which I'm all fine because I know Rebels was before this, so we know that was going to happen. Yeah. But in that sense, then I almost rather would have had give me a character that didn't exist in Rebels, so that at least we see. I don't know. I feel like this because we, once John said that in this episode, as I haven't watched Rebels, so I wasn't aware of that.
We don't watch Rebels.
John tells me that. I'm like, I'm just waiting for the moment in this series where we see him pop his head back up to kind of make sure the continuity is in place. So at the end of this episode, I'm like, all right. And what a lame way. He just kind of just like walks in. Hey, what's up? I was really here the whole time. Like, I don't know. It was so lame. It was lame to me, and I was bummed.
I just laughed because I was like, John Dunphy was right. So I started laughing.
And it just makes me think like how much more stupid Reva is, which I don't want to think that. It's like I want to give this character a chance, but and maybe that's part of it. Said we're seeing that she's not as smart and she's not as cunning.
Frank, I was going to say that, Frank. See, Frank, I was going to say that. I was going to offer you a counterpoint. She's going on pure emotion. She wasn't trained properly because we got stunted. She's not trained as a full-on Jedi. And she went to the dark side, and that's all emotion. He's all emotion, too, basically. So she really hasn't. That's why she's making mistakes.
But it's also like, because you would walk away from the Grand Inquisitor and not make sure that he's dead. You haven't been around this guy enough to know, like, oh, wait, you know what? He does have 2 sets of stomachs. So he's probably not dead. Because I've only stabbed one.
This series to me is like a lesson in like whoever you're fighting, finish them off.
Yes.
Off of their head.
Yeah, like don't just leave them laying there still alive because they're gonna survive. But you know what I would have loved? Honestly, I guess I enjoyed Vader and Reva kind of going at it, but I honestly think that I would have preferred after Vader was kind of deflecting all of her saber swings, right, with the Force and not actually really fighting with his own lightsaber. I would have even loved to see him just kind of like subdue her, and then the Grand Inquisitor walks in, and the Grand Inquisitor and Reva battle it out. That I think I actually would have liked more.
Yes, I am down with you. That would have been more interesting. It's like, yeah. I think I would have liked that better.
Yeah. But overall, I was just excited to see the Grand Inquisitor again. But I I feel like there should have been more of like, because he even came in and said like, oh, revenge is great for keeping you alive or whatever. I would have loved to see that line and then him like light up his lightsaber and start dueling with her. That would have been cool.
Yeah. Or I was expecting at the end of one of these episodes to see him coming out of a Bacta tank and going like, all right, now I'm going to go do what I'm going to do. I'm like, all right, cool. But I assume, John, in Rebels, he's much more awesome.
I love the Grand Inquisitor. So, I mean, it's... Oh, God. Yeah,
I mean, he's got a
you
cool
should really watch Rebels.
I should. I mean, he's got a cool look and a cool personality. So I'd like to see more of him. But what they've showed of him in Obi-Wan, I'm just like, especially his entrance in this episode, I'm like, all right.
Right.
Whatever.
I'll tell you, like Rebels, I might like Rebels more than I like the Clone Wars as far as the animated series goes. Like Rebels is great. There are some great stories in there, and great characters. I would definitely recommend checking it out. Seeing the Inquisitors, especially the Grand Inquisitor, really, really cool.
Is he the only? Does Fifth Brother and the other
Fifth Brother shows up? There's a few Inquisitors in there. I forget. There's at least one of the sisters. I don't know if it's Seventh Sister or.
So the other two that we did see in the series are also in Rebels.
I believe so. Yeah, there is at least, besides the Grand Inquisitor, I'm off the top of my head, I'm remembering at least like 3 other Inquisitors that are in Rebels.
Yeah, and maybe we'll see more of them next episode. I'm kind of predisposed to think not, but it's also, again, like we talked about last week, when you announce a big casting from another franchise, like Han from Fast and Furious as Fifth Brother. I'm like, so far he really didn't do much. He still got that Star Wars paycheck though, and he still
sure did.
He'll be right there.
That may be one of my biggest complaints of this series, is that Fifth Brother hasn't been used more. And that's not even to say that it's taken away from the series, because I've really enjoyed the series, but I feel like the Fifth Brother is such a cool character, and I would have liked to see them do a little bit more with him.
Because all I see right now is that he's just a whiny dude. So that's all he does. He just whines a lot, just like bitches.
Well, what's funny too is that like he's been whining mostly about Reva and how she's kind of been let off the hook. When now in this episode we found out that like Vader kind of knew what her deal was the whole time. He's like, you think I didn't feel this? Youngling. He called her youngling. He knew exactly who she was. You know what I mean? Like, so like, I don't know. It's just funny that this person, Reva, that the Fifth Brother's been whining about the whole time. It's like Vader's had her number the whole time, but kind of letting her off the hook and pissing off the Fifth Brother the whole series,
So in the chat room, we have Frank, you ever seen Rebels? Somebody's a huge fan of the Clone Wars. Cut off their head. Darth Maul got sliced in half and came back. She fights on pure emotion. Let's see what some other comments are saying. Hi Lotties. Vader was playing with Reva's feelings. He already knew her feelings. People are asking for a Reva spinoff. There you go.
I don't. Maybe next episode changes my mind on that, but right now, I don't know if I need a Reva spinoff. If she's still around after next episode, I'm fine with her maybe popping in as a supporting character in something else.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, this character, I don't know if, not that, Moses Ingram is great.
Yeah.
I don't know if the character of Reva could carry her own series, though. I think it would be interesting to see that, this gap, though, where she's gone from youngling to Inquisitor. I think that could be interesting to see how she sort of got there. But I don't know if this character on her own can carry a series.
I think a world exists where that character could, but I just don't think there wasn't enough writing done for that character in this series to show you the true potential of that character.
Right.
The ending literally is the hyperdrive is blown. Ice Cube Jr. tells us that, but they're behind them. Reva finds out about Luke, kind of, or a boy on Tatooine. Obi Wan has a bad feeling, and baby Luke is sleeping. That's how it ends. How do you feel about the ending? What do we think? That's it. What do we think's going to happen? What do you think's going on?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what Reva's headspace is about this information.
Right.
I mean, I can only assume a bad feeling is going to mean that she's out for revenge, but I don't know why she would why she would want to hurt another child, even if it was something that was related to Obi-Wan. I mean, Obi-Wan brought Darth Vader, got her there, gave her the opportunity. Maybe she's mad that Obi-Wan took off on her. I don't know. That it was never really, we never saw her reaction to like, holy F, I'm just here by myself and Vader. So I don't know if she thought Obi-Wan was going to help her and is mad that he took off, or what. I don't know what her motivation will be this next episode. John, please tell me you have insight.
I have two thoughts on this, two conflicting thoughts. One of them is that she's pissed Obi-Wan wasn't around to help her against Vader, and she sees this hologram and now is like, oh, I have information that I can feed to Vader to get back in his good graces. You know, the other thought that I have is because she asked Obi-Wan earlier in the episode, where were you? Like, where have you been when all this has been going on? Maybe this is a clue to her that, oh, Obi-Wan has had a purpose somewhere else, and that's why he hasn't been around fighting Vader and fighting the Empire, because he's been protecting this person. You know what I mean? I almost feel like it could almost it could go either way to me. It's either she just got, you know, left for dead on this planet because Obi-Wan left her in this fight against Vader, or she might see this and say, oh, that's why Obi-Wan wasn't around. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure which direction it could go, but those were the two thoughts that I had when I saw this. Like, this is either going to be great for Obi-Wan or going to be terrible. But
do you think that no matter what decision is made, she's definitely not dead?
I don't think she's dead.
Yeah, I mean, the way the episode ended, I don't think she's dead. But it also makes me feel. No, the way the episode ended, I don't think she's dead.
Yeah, I don't think she's dead either.
But I also feel like, geez, I don't know. It's tough because it makes me feel like she wouldn't use this information for vengeance on Obi-Wan, because clearly Vader never finds out about. Well, I mean, I don't know. We never find out. Like, at least in A New Hope, it seems that Vader never finds out that Luke is on Tatooine, right? So, like.
Right.
Unless Reva's planning to go to Tatooine and do something to Luke herself, you know, I don't really know. I'm not sure.
When they gave her the information, so it's kind of like she has to fall through, right? That's what I think, right?
Right. You would think her getting. She didn't see that hologram for no reason. It's not like we're just going to get to the next episode. It's going to be like.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like if Obi-Wan, I don't necessarily think that Obi-Wan you're saying like, oh, something's wrong. I don't necessarily think that means Luke is in trouble per se. I don't know. It's just, it's this whole set. I don't know where they're going to go from here, honestly, because obviously we know that Luke is fine because he shows up in A New Hope and everything's good.
Right.
But it's just very interesting to me, like the way this information came to Reva, because she was just, not that she was betrayed by Obi-Wan, but I do think that there was some thought in her mind that like, okay, I'm not going to have to take on Vader alone. And then she did have to. So like, I could see where she would feel like, all right, Obi-Wan's clearly been up to something on Tatooine, and maybe I can use this information to help myself. But also, you know, like I was saying earlier, like I almost feel like this could almost help her in her relationship with Obi-Wan, because maybe it'll be like, oh, he's been protecting this person that might help, you know, in the future. I don't know. I could be completely wrong. But
here's the thing. So because we know there's certain things, because now we're entering territory of leaking up with something that's already out there, it's kind of a weird thing, right? So you're like, okay,
right.
It's basically a prequel of sorts. So it's kind of like, how they gonna link up? But there's enough time and space they could end somewhere and keep going another couple of seasons, and then eventually get to where they're going. So I know it's weird. Some people in the chat room were like, maybe she's going to try to protect the twins. Someone says, yes, Vader is not supposed to know where the twins are. Disney changed the ending. Reva was supposed to die, but fans like Reva haters saved the Reva character. I think they already have filmed this before.
Yes,
They filmed this a long time ago before fans came up. They didn't. That's not true. That part's not true. They filmed this a long time. Also, they're not filmed when they come out. They filmed a long time ago. So there's no. You can't change it. You can't change an ending.
They filmed this in a week in response to the uproar.
It's like you ever seen that South Park documentary? They do like 24 hours to air. It's like they literally write the episode in a week. Yeah. This is not that. It's filmed well in advance.
I've heard things like that before, like in a soaps, they'll say that like they change the character. I'm like, well, no, I'll tell you, the soaps are done 5-6 weeks in advance. They don't go back in. There's no. This person claims they did reshoot it, but you're saying they reshot it recently, not back. I mean, that'd be such a. I'm sorry. I work in production. I would think it's a weird, expensive thing to do. To change it and add it in later.
It does some weird, like, oh, we're going to show the fans, we're going to keep her alive now.
Yeah, I don't think these people, they don't care. Most of the networks don't care about that kind of stuff. They don't. But this person claims they think they did. They did reshoot it. If you can send me an article, if you say, no, seriously, so send me, if you follow me on social media, send me a credible article that says that they actually reshot it recently because of the hatred of this character. And if you do, I will totally go, okay, they did it. And they did. So yeah, so if you follow me, James Hutchinson anywhere, send me, because I read the news story, I've never read that. So send it to me. If you think it's true, send it to me. And then I will next week I will say, this person sent me an article that says this true. So let me know that.
James will eat that hat.
I'll eat the hat. I'll eat it.
I'll send you another one. Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. I will chew this hat down on live on air if what you're saying is completely true. But yes, send me an article. Send me a link to an article that's not a fan article or something that's actually from Disney that says or Star Wars that says that they did that for that reason.
Yeah, so, I just don't. I couldn't see that happening either.
I don't either. So I'm curious.
Yeah, I mean, because what are we talking? We're talking. That's only like 3 weeks to reshoot this whole.
Yeah,
thing.
It's like that's kind of like they don't normally do. That's a lot of money to spend to do that.
That's all. That's also a lot of actors to call back. That probably have busy schedules.
Yeah, because like I said, this was shot way before they even put this out. All the series are done before they put them out. So. They do reshoots when they're filming stuff, back in that time period. But if it hasn't released to the public, then there's nothing, no one knows anything. But yeah, seriously, Sarah, if you can find an article that says that's a credible article that says that's why they did that, I will totally read it on air and I will eat my hair. That's what I'll do for you guys.
Whoa! All right, I'm excited.
It's thick hair too. It's nice, thick, juicy hair. So yes.
Not just thick, but juicy.
Juicy. Frank Moranci, everyone. What do you send us, Frank?
So this is like a little article there where it just says they've been informed that Reva will return for the next story, supposedly for an Obi Wan season 2, and how her death sequence at the hands of Darth Vader has not been cut or amended, but cannot confirm if they reshot anything.
Well, the person who just said it just goes, sorry, James. I just heard it. I'm not into Star Wars like you guys. I'm like, that's okay. So let me do a little rant really quick. And my sister, she heard the same thing, wasn't sure like it was from a fan. That's what I'm saying. You have to be careful because that's how rumors and things get started when you say it like it's fact. Because I'm reading them because you wrote the words down. And okay, she's not thinking to my sister, okay. So Rob MM said this. Now you wrote it as if it was fact, but now you're backtracking and saying you don't know for sure, and that you heard it. Well, there's a lot of things. We hear all kinds of stuff all the time. So I try not to, on these shows, not pass off anything unless it's fact. I don't want to, because we get in trouble because we're the ones doing the shows. Fans come to us, James, that's not true. They never said that. We'll get attacked, not you, because you're a watcher watching us. We'll get attacked if we say it as if it's true. Any kind of missteps that we say on these shows, Star Wars fans, and soap fans too, will totally call you out on it. But we hear things, Frank and I do the soap shows all the time. We hear all kinds of spoilers and fan things and articles that look real. There's some articles out there that look really real. That's how rumors get started and become facts. So that's what I'm saying. For us, we work in Hollywood, so a lot of times we know what kind of goes on and how the things and mechanics that go into them. So you guys heard that. Okay, that's legitimate. You've heard that, but it's not. But now you're saying it's not fact. You made it sound like it was fact. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, I'm not just screaming, yell at you and all like that, but just it's kind of like, if we say anything on the show, we're gonna make sure that it's fact, so we don't get called out on it, and we don't get in trouble. That's kind of thing here. So I try to read certain sites that are literally credible sites. The ones that are fan sites, I may read some of them sometimes, but it's just kind of like, it's just, chances are they don't do reshoots for fans. I just hardly ever have never really heard, even in soap operas, any kind of shows. It's rarely ever happened. Ever.
Right. I just feel like the amount of resources that it takes to do something like that too. I mean, like, especially when we're talking about this franchise and these actors, like think about how many months or years that they were in. I just feel like
it's just the three of them and extras. Like that's easy. I've been an extra before. It's not easy to gather extras either. I mean, it's just not
right.
that
right. Like you've got to make sure. Right. I mean, I feel like shows have certain budgets. Actors have certain schedules, and I feel like it's very hard while the show is literally airing. It's being put out week by week. It's very hard to get all these people in at the same time to reshoot these types of things and have the sets available and have all that, all the equipment available and all the crew available and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know.
I mean, yes, it is. So just like I say, yes, it's possible. Yeah, they could totally do that. Yes, possibly. But it's very highly unlikely that happens usually. But either way, like Frank just said, they're kind of invested in the character of some sort. So you may see her pop up if there's a season 2 somewhere else. She's in the universe now, so she's in the universe. So again, I like the character, so I have nothing against the character. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing her somewhere else, but I think she's alive still. I think she's still alive. So either all this talk makes no sense. I think she's still alive either way, and that's kind of that. I think.
Odds of us seeing some sort of thing at the end in the credits saying Obi Wan will return in season 2?
I think nothing. I think we won't see that. I think they'll just make an announcement after it's over, or not, because
I don't. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Let me say this one more time, everybody. Yes, you guys are all correct. It is totally possible. Yes, they have done research. I'll make sure I say this. Am I saying it with shade? Yes, I am. But I'm like, but you guys are all right and we're wrong, and we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. Okay, go ahead. What are you gonna say? I know. I deal with this I deal with this stuff. We deal with this on Sundays. Now people are bringing up like, well, Hollywood Industries is shooting, and everybody, I'm like, all this. I'm like, okay, whatever. You guys are completely right. We're wrong. Okay, you win. I'm not gonna
yeah.
Right. So you guys all win. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. You all win. Okay.
I don't think that we'll get like a Obi-Wan season 2, wait for it. But no. I could see a post-credit scene like we saw after the second season of Mandalorian for Boba Fett. Right. I could see us getting like a post-credit scene for like Andor or something like that. Because I think that's the next season coming out, right? The next show coming out. So I feel like we could see something like that at the end of the next episode, because I've heard that Obi-Wan might appear in Andor. So I could see them ending the Obi-Wan series. Yeah.
Really?
I heard that also.
Yes.
Again, so heard this. We're not sure.
Heard this. We're not sure.
We're not sure.
We're not sure. Nothing is confirmed. But I've heard this. And I could see us getting a post-credit scene for the Andor series.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Where Andor shows up in Tatooine, says, "Help me, Obi-Wan, you're my only hope."
Exactly. Wearing the same outfit as Princess Leia.
Exactly. Yes. I don't know. And Andor kind of starts in August. And so folks are trying to convince me to do an actual after show for it. But I don't want to.
You're so scared. You're so scared of Andor, aren't you?
I'm not sure. I'm not super sure about it. So I have a show that talks about Star Wars stuff that we will do the first episode. If I love it so much, then I'll reshoot scenes. Okay. No, then I will make a decision last minute.
Did you like Rogue One, James?
I loved it.
So I'm curious as to see why you are hesitant that Andor might be a good series.
I'm just not sure. I'm like, I saw the trailers; they were fine, but I didn't get this excitement that I feel like Rogue One was just such a good standalone movie. that fits in the universe. It was really good. I thought it was just really well done. Darth coming at the end it made sense. Everything just made sense. In a way, we know what happens to them. So like, I'm not interested in all prequels. Like, I don't need a prequel for everything. But it could be really good or really bad. I feel like I can go either direction. That's why I have not committed. That's why I'd rather commit to the newer shows that show me some promise. Like Ahsoka and all of those, so they show promise. And I'm excited about those. But I'm like, I'm not that excited. I'm gonna watch because I watch everything Star Wars, but I'm not super pumped like I am. So I don't want to commit to doing a whole. I'm gonna watch the whole season, but if it's like where I'll talk about it, well, like every few episodes we talk about it on the show, that might be better than trying to talk about it every single week. I don't know if I want to commit to that.
I can understand that because it's like, a Mandalorian series that's got the promise of the Mandalorians. Ooh, that's cool. We don't know a lot about them. That's awesome. Or Obi-Wan, we're filling in a gap of a really beloved character. Ahsoka, same thing as that as well. Boba Fett, better for worse, but at least there was like a character that fired up a lot of people's imagination. So with Andor, you're right. There's not like, holy cow, we get more of Andor. This guy?
There's a couple. Well, so folks. No, so Frank brings up a good point. So they released a logo schedule with the logos. So we're gonna go through each of these really quick. So there is on August 5th, Star Wars Lego Summer Vacation.
I can't wait.
Woo!
Can't wait.
Yes.
Now I do want to watch that. I do want to talk about it on my Darth Vader show. So if you guys are watching it, we can do that. Then there's Andor August 31st. Then there's Tales of the Jedi in fall. Then there's the Bad Batch, September 28th. Now, Star Wars Hunters, I know nothing about. I don't know what that is.
If it's something to focus on bounty hunters, I'm down for it.
That would be awesome. I'd love to see more of Cad Bane. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
Well, here's the thing. So then, if I see I haven't seen a trailer or anything for it. So if I see a trailer for it, I'll make a decision on that one. I don't know anything about it.
I think it's a game. So then that might be the deal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, is it a game?
Yeah, it's a team-based multiplayer game.
Okay, never mind. Talk about that. Okay. The Mandalorian, season 3, February 2023. The Young Jedi Adventures, spring 2023, which I read the books. So I'm kind of like interested, maybe possibly in that one. Possibly. Star Wars Visions, spring 2023. Ahsoka, 2023. Now, I'm seeing, but it's a game. Survivor Jedi, 2023. Jedi Survivor. Skeleton Crew.
Is that a bunch of Jedis playing Survivor? Like the reality show?
Yep. Jeff Probst is in it.
Jeff Probst, he's like, the tribe is spoken. Yes.
May the force be with you as you
force be with you. Star Wars Skeleton Crew, which I don't know what that is. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic.
Star Wars Skeleton Crew, that's the one that Jude Law is doing, where it's also kind of a and John Watts, who directed the 2 Spider-Man films for Marvel. So it's more about like a coming of age story set in the Star Wars universe.
Now that'd be interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and that's at Celebration.
Then they have Star Wars The Acolytes.
Oh, yes.
What is that? I don't know what that is. TBD. Then they have Star Wars late 2023. I believe that's the movie. Then they have Lando, which I am interested in.
Oh yeah. The Acolyte is the story about how we see how the Emperor was able to how a dark Sith Lord was able to fool everybody, and kind of and be hiding in plain sight. So that's kind of like tying into all that stuff.
That sounds interesting. That sounds interesting to me.
Yeah, the Acolyte is going to be really good, I think. Oh my god, yeah. Oh, there's so much cool stuff.
I'm gonna have 20 after shows, bitches. I can't have time for all this shit. Okay, then we got Lando, which I won also. Then Star Wars: A Droid Story.
Yes,
that is.
Depends on which droid.
Like,
If it's Lola, I'll respectfully pass.
I hope it's Lola. No, I hope it's Lola. I hope it is so much.
I hope it's Chopper.
Chopper. I know Chopper. Yes, Chopper. Like Chopper.
And that's why you have to watch Rebels, Frank. Chopper is one of the best droids in all of Star Wars.
Well, you can also watch Bad Batch. Chopper's in Bad Batch too, isn't he?
Yeah, that's true. That's
nice.
true.
And he's going to be in Ahsoka.
He's going to be in Ahsoka.
Chopper is so good. Chopper. Okay, listen. If you watch Rebels, every time Chopper like speaks, like you can almost understand what the droid is saying, but he doesn't actually say any words. But even just like the syllables match up. So like the way that like the humans and like the people interact with Chopper, you can like tell just by his beep 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 boop boop boop. You can tell like what words he's saying. Chopper is the best freaking droid in all of Star Wars. I think. I love R2D2. I love R2 and I love C3PO. Chopper is so awesome.
I thought there were so many great Clone War episodes where it just showed how awesome R2 could be. So all right, I'm down to see Chopper can take the title.
R2 will always be number one. R2 will always be Bay. R2 will always be Bay. But Chopper is up there. I'm telling you, Chopper is up there.
Chopper's is side piece. That's what's going on there. Okay.
That's right. My mistress.
Yes, your mistress. Then we got Star Wars Rogue Squadron, which could be interesting.
I don't mean that one keeps getting delayed. I wonder if that one's even going to happen though, because I mean I know Patty Jenkins, it got delayed, and I don't know. I could see that one kind of also disappearing.
Well, like I said, this was released recently. There's a whole thing they released this a couple days ago. Star Wars Rangers of the New Republic.
Was that the one? Was that the one that was supposed to be with Cara Dune though? Rangers of the New Republic. What was the one that she was supposed to be in?
Oh, that's right. I can't remember where she was. I can't remember.
Wasn't that Rangers?
They fired that bitch. So I don't know what's going on.
Wasn't that the name of that show? I forget. I could be wrong, but that sounds familiar.
Then they have Kevin. How do you pronounce his name? Feige.
My close personal friend, Kevin Feige. Everybody.
Frank's like, excuse you, James.
Yes.
They have his project to be announced. Then Star Wars Eclipse to be announced, and then Ubisoft's project to be announced.
That you're right, John. That was the Gina Carano series that was put on the shelf. Well, so maybe they're bringing it back in a different iteration.
Okay. Leopard said her phone case is R2D2. Right? R2 is king. My sister says all the droids. Love Lego Star Wars. I do like Lego Star Wars too. That's it. I like Legos. They're fun. So yeah, we'll cover the Lego Star Wars movie on my Darth Vader is Your Father series because it's a movie. So we'll cover that for sure. And I saw a thing on Disney Plus that was the Under the Helmet of Boba Fett or whatever. It's like I couldn't bring myself to watch it. So I'm trying to bring myself to watch it. I just can't. I'm trying.
Star Wars Eclipse is another video game, so that's not coming out until either 2027 or 2028.
I really do feel like I need to get some of these video games just to see the stories. I feel like because some of them look really good. The trailers are really good.
I know. The problem is that video game consoles are so expensive.
Well, yeah, but there's that too, right? There's that too.
All I have is a Nintendo Switch, so
Well, it's so funny. I remember was it Xbox or one of them? They actually had programming. They had shows that were just like next. My microwave's gonna have TV shows. Like, what's going on? Like, they had shows for Xbox. My friend was like, "Yeah, we do series coming." I'm like, "Where?" I think it says it's on. It was PlayStation. I would do series coming out on PlayStation. They have series. But they had a couple. They're trying to add a couple of series on PlayStation years ago that you literally had to have a PlayStation to watch them.
Yeah. I
was like, that's low budge.
I mean, I feel like with Andor, I mean, I know your reluctance about that, James, and I'm hoping, I want it to be good, but I'd also love it if it was also being used as a way to introduce other new characters that they in turn could be kind of spun off. So we're, again, expanding more of the Star Wars universe with other characters. That's not necessarily.
I would love that. And I would love that, but I don't think they're going to do that. They're going to play the characters we've seen in a movie, and probably add a few couple.
I'm waiting to when they decide to pull the trigger on post Return of the Jedi or post Rise of Skywalker.
Right.
Whether that's going to be animated first or live action first, but I'm curious when they will move into either of those kind of time gaps, time periods, and start telling stories there.
Well, I know
Okay, so
Taika Waititi, right?
Yeah.
He seems to be the one that really wants to expand this universe. He wants to create
Yes.
a movie or a trilogy that does not include any of these Skywalker, saga characters.
I heard that.
And I think he could do it very well. He played the droid in The Mandalorian, right? He was the one that, right?
Yes.
And he did a great job. So he's already part of the Star Wars universe. I know he's been, his name's been out there as directing a movie or even a trilogy of his own or anything like that. So I really do. And I think that I would like that. I really do think that I would love if he was at the helm of a new Star Wars project that kind of took us into a different era of Star Wars.
I think there's room for both because Marvel does it. There's room for both. You can have a Skywalker line going, a Jedi line, and another line going, and they could do that. They could literally do that.
Absolutely.
Just give me and Frank the Skywalker line. We'll handle that one. They can handle the others.
I mean, really, what they need to do is the next animated series they should be a Skywalker, Han, Leia, focused right after Return of the Jedi. Then you get the characters you love, and you don't have to worry about the live action element. You can just tell really awesome stories with those characters.
I'm with you, Frank. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, I agree. Because I would love that. I mean, we've gotten so many great series that have come in between the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy. There needs to be something that bridges the original trilogy to the sequel trilogy. There has to be. You can have so much in there, whether it's Han, Leia, and Luke. If you want to have Kylo Ren in there, if at some point, if you want to have, there's just so many characters that you could have in that gap. They've done a good job of filling the gap between the prequels and the originals. They have to somehow now fill the gap between the originals and the sequels also, especially because a lot of people didn't love the sequels.
Okay, here we go. I'm gonna say it on camera. I'm gonna ask my two gentlemen here, who are my co-hosts for all things Star Wars. Do you think we should do an Andor after show?
I'm totally game because I have to be honest. I think that Andor is going to be awesome. That's just my opinion. I don't know, but I think it's going to be awesome.
I mean, I want to think that because I can't imagine Lucasfilm would greenlight a second season if they weren't loving what they were seeing so far.
Yeah. So, okay, folks, stay tuned. That's our cliffhanger for tonight. We've been on the air for an hour and a half. We're done. We'll leave it on that. There may be an Andor after show, or may not be. Who knows? I'll keep you guys posted. If you follow me at James Law Jr. everywhere at JLJ Media.
You make James know you want it. Yeah. And you want James Law Jr. to give it to you.
More. I'm Kylo Ren.
John Duffy, tell folks where they can find you.
You can find me at JDunn89 on Twitter or Instagram, whichever you prefer. I also do another podcast called At BB Jury Duty. We talk about all competitive reality shows. We're covering Big Brother Australia right now. It's a lot of fun. Check us out. That's me.
Because Big Brother America is coming July 6th. You got the challenge, USA starting that same night. You got all kinds of stuff happening.
Yeah, I have if you look at my notebook right now, all the notes that I have, all the shows I'm watching, I have in the same notebook. It's a RuPaul's Drag Race, Big Brother Australia, The Challenge All Stars 3, Obi Wan Kenobi. I don't even know what the hell's going on.
I love it. I love it. Frank Moran, where do you go?
Yeah, my last thought was in terms of a pitch for an animated series with Luke, Leia, and Han and all the cast, is that we've got so many books that then became defunct, and we started a new kind of a reboot of the novels. But I feel like that's where everybody kind of, and the comics is where everybody kind of maintain their love for those characters. But in terms of what people truly seem as, I think what truly people value as canonical is films, the animated series, or live action shows. There hasn't been much with those characters. So give us an animated series where you can do lots and lots of adventures and really treat those characters like you did with Clone Wars, and just really drill even deeper in something that will be really canonical to Star Wars visual, the visual side of the universe.
I would love to see more of the Luke that we saw at the end of the second season of The Mandalorian. You know,
yes,
coming in there, just ripping apart those droids, those oh my God, it would be great. I want to see more of Luke as that badass Jedi at the end of the original trilogy that we never really got to see. I would love to see that. You see more of that.
I mean, you know where the story has to go, but now being able to have a step away from it, I feel you could tell so many stories that hopefully in retrospect can make the sequel trilogies maybe land a little bit better with people. So
end the show, folks. End the show. We've been on for too long.
Anyway, so James, what I wanted to
they're gonna totally tune out. They're gonna totally tune out at 60 minutes. They're gonna like, what's going on here?
There you go. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Happy Go Jackie, and we're gonna be working on that James Lott Jr. remix of the DMX's X is gonna give it to you. For James is gonna give it to you.
Frank, I love you more than life itself. And I'm James Lott Jr. You can follow me. We're all James Lott Jr. sold at James Lott Jr. and all social media platforms. Check out all of our after shows here. I have Book Boba Fett, Darth Vader's Your Father, Mandalorian Season 2. This show, of course, I started Ahsoka. I got approved, so it just tells you we're going to do an after show. But apply to that one too because you should. Thanks for making all those shows a hit for us on JLJ Media. We appreciate it. We're your new source for Star Wars content. More is coming. Good night, everybody. Have a great day.
James, don't forget to put out the Star Wars Rangers of the New Republic. Get that one going now too.